How to change my mind on how I see women. For 1. Stop referring to women as having good and bad erotic parts. Typically it's people that have never experienced something that tend to elevate it to ridiculous proportions. I remember back when I used to live with my parents. The first few days after my mom would go on a trip I'd just be like, holy shit. Is this what it's like to have a kitchen to myself? But after a few days it's just a kitchen. This is basically why a lot Indian men and other suppressed cultures are insanely pervy and predatory. It's not an excuse, but an explanation. Are you a virgin? Typically it's people that have never experienced something that tend to elevate it to ridiculous proportions. Even if you're not a virgin, sexual frustration can cause it, but in the end you just need to actively focus on not doing it. Whenever you catch yourself doing it, just train it out of yourself. How come this jackass hasn't responded to anyone? This is fake. He could just be reading the responses and moving on. Or working a 12-hour shift in the mines. Who knows? It does feel a little fake, but there's not much to be gained from assuming that. Maybe someone else will read the thread and actually do something with it. Stop watching porn. This right here, fellas, will do you a good time. Also save you a lot of time. Just think about how much 15 minutes a day adds up to in a year. You're finishing in 15 minutes. I need at least 45 minutes to find something and settle in. Means you're addicted to dopamine, the feeling of the chase. Don't fool yourself, lads. Porn addiction is a drug addiction and it absolutely fries your nerves. Best thing I ever did was quit. Hang out with female friends more often. I actually agree with this. When I was in high school I had a really bad issue with not being able to distinguish niceties or romance from women. In college, while dating too, I started hanging out with women from my classes in a totally platonic way, and it worked wonders. Not that I didn't see them as normal people back then, but it had been filtered through my porn watching brain that they were partners first. I think culture, at least in North America, has a lot to do with it too. From a young age, hanging out with girls in a friendly way is seen as a special or not thought of thing. If I were to say, hey, I'm hanging out with Andrew, my parents would most likely just gone, alright. Just be safe and come home by 8 PM. On the opposite end, if I said, I'm hanging out with Christine, it would be met with oh, little Anon has a girlfriend. I told you he was gonna be a lady killer. That type of thing. That distinction is created pretty early on and kind of adds a different status to hanging out with the opposite sex. Today in my mid-20s, I have a very healthy relationship with my girlfriend, as well as the women in my life, and very seldom think of other women as physical partners, unless we are talking/interacting in that way. A grand majority of my friends are actually women now, which is far better than the latter, at least in my opinion. First, I'd like to ask, what do you see when you see another man? This is such a good question. I'm laughing hysterically imagining he judges them first, based on their wieners. Can't complain, the Sknida ones taste bloody good. Lots of good advice in this thread. The only thing I'd like to add is that only you can change yourself. The methodology that I was taught by my therapist is called STOP, https://dbt, tools/emotional_regulation/stop, php. When you catch yourself in a mindset you don't want to be in, use this skill to help retrain your brain and behaviors. Practice empathy, like just sit down, close your eyes, and imagine you're a woman interacting with you, or just a woman doing normal daily stuff, and imagine how they must feel with regards to their interactions with the world around them. Imagine their fears, what is practical to them, and you'll realize that we are not so different. Women have a lot of similarities, a lot of things they find practical and impractical, a lot of interests and hobbies as well. Edit, as an autistic dude in his early 20s, I applied this sort of mentality to my interactions with women my age at uni, as I had a similar mentality as op during my teens, and I noticed that a lot more of my conversations with women skyrocketed in quality, and I was able to have more heart-to-hearts and genuine connections with women universally. Edit 2, thanks for the kind words, gents. I can't believe a comment with a simple quit watching porn is upvoted higher than a comment describing a lack of empathy. Lacking empathy is obviously the cause here. IDK, what is with the bias here? I suspect this is a common side effect of long-term porn use for many men. Yeah, this is it. Objectification of women, because that's what porn does to your brain. Right. Because that didn't exist before porn became mainstream. It's like they don't understand that someone who is horny all the time is exactly the type of person to seek out porn all the time. It's the symptom, not the cause. As somebody who wasn't able to access porn until I was an adult, I can assure you that it is a cause, not a symptom. You seriously think people were less horny before porn? You should see a therapist. This is seriously concerning behavior and not something we are really equipped to help you with. I would suggest in the meantime you try to stop using language justifying the behavior like a problem a lot of males have and programmed to do this. Best answer. Damn man. That's fucked up. Try meditation and yoga. It has very positive effect on mental state. Reduce the amount of porn you watch. A woman is a person first and a woman last. Everything in between, like for example, colleague, friend, bystander, acquaintance and everything else comes before the recognition that she is a woman. A woman is not a tool for your pleasure. You programmed yourself to that. Again, remove/reduce the consumption of porn. Women are not always pristine and should not be put on a pedestal. They can be nasty, perverted or insane just like any other person. Take this mental image with you. Every person you see in front of your eyes is full of shit. Literally and figuratively. No one knows what they are doing. Everyone is just babies that try to pretend they know what they are doing. And at the same time, if you stick a finger into a random person's bum, guess what you will find? Shit. True in some ways. But I just can't see my ex as a res person when she mothered my kids and was a relatively good person throughout the relationship. It's just the ending that she ended up being a res person. And that sucks because now all that is in my mind is that person. Stop watching porn. Really? The porn isn't what got him objectifying women. It's not helping him, but it's definitely not the cause. He needs more exposure to women in life. Being too sheltered from women as a man does some wild death to our perception of women. Familiarity breeds familiarity. This will go away only with a lot of exposure and interaction. Until then it will be quite traumatic. Which country are you in? Does it have beaches where women wear bikinis? Do you have woman friends who wear them? Spending enough time around them is the only way to desensitize yourself. It sounds a great solution. I live in Greece, and as you can imagine we have a lot of beaches. Make female friends. That's usually a start, and no, don't get near with any intentions of dating. Hang out with them, and you should and would see them as actual human beings. Do you not have any good female role models in your life? I can't find any women I tolerate talking to. I've tried hobby related events. Not a woman in sight. The rest look at me like I'm weird when I talk about my hobbies. I mean, I don't know. I'm a woman and you seem to somewhat tolerate me. I've always made friends online with people in the same field of interest with no problem. A lot of men have. The majority of men do not believe nor act in that manner. Wake up, bro. Sometimes this sub makes me think different. People have a real big problem just acting normal, it seems. There are definitely lots of terrible men, but Reddit is an extremely small and skewed part of society. Really eye-opening to read this as a man. I honestly didn't know that other men couldn't look at women as just people, that they only see them as this or that. IDK, how one even gets like that. I find it both interesting and bizarre. Well, think of the many abusive guys out there, and some women. They see their partners as tools for their pleasure, which is what I fear op may become. The kind who uses them just for sex. Go to therapy. I find that when you think of women as people, you don't run into this issue so much. Captain Obvious saves the day. I do what I can, lol. You can do little steps on your own. Every time you catch yourself thinking a woman isn't a normal person, catch yourself and ask yourself why. Why did you think that? What is she saying? Is she doing anything sexual? And then focus your attention elsewhere. But if you have been thinking this way for a long time, you need a professional to help you. This is not a problem a lot of civilized males have. From your post, I gather maybe English is not your first language and there may be cultural issues behind this as well. Find a male therapist who is certified in humanist therapy or sex therapy and be honest with him. You will feel so much better about yourself and the world around you when 50% of people you meet aren't about sex. Good luck. I think that talking with more girls in general will help you to see them as just people and not sexual objects again. I've been there. Honestly, just fucking force yourself to do it. You're locked into a way of thinking by your constant repeating and reinforcing of that way of thinking. Your brain is a computer that plays on patterns and it needs some new data. Set a simple goal. Get to know some women without trying to sleep with them. Just go and talk to them. Ask them about their life. Tell them about yours. Refuse to get sexual. Every time you want to go there, try to recognize it and stop yourself. When I went through the same process, I was single and dating. And I set myself a hard rule that no matter what happened, I would never sleep with someone the first time I met them. I just didn't like the way I looked at people when that was on the table. So I took it off and started enjoying the conversation and locking in actual friendships/contacts. Over time you can ramp it up. But for now, keep it simple and just try to have normal conversations with women. It really is that simple. But that doesn't make it easy. You're not going to reprogram your brain overnight. Don't be harsh on yourself when you slip. But do hold yourself to account. Trust me when I say this is going to be a serious endeavor that takes at least a few months if not longer. But you can start making progress right away. You'll change pretty quickly. And then you'll realize just how deeply entrenched that is. Keep digging. Good luck. You don't want to objectify women? Then don't do things that objectify them. Stop watching porn. Stop looking at IG and TikTok baddies. Don't stare at girls out in public. Humanize them, objectify them. It doesn't matter at the end of the day because we are both. It's just a matter of preference. Stop watching porn. Women aren't objects, they're human beings like you. This is so disrespectful, doesn't have good parts, like she's a car or something. I'd suggest looking into therapy, because this is not healthy at all. It's scary AF too. Is it a my eyes are up here type situation? The fact that you're asking means you are aware of it. Well done. As to how to fix it? Sorry mate. No idea, but you're doing well to even realize your problem. You're a step ahead of a large percent of people. Society condemns a pretty normal response in our bodies to reproduce. It is a evolutionary inevitability. However, we were also given a brain to make good choices based on those thoughts. Mindfulness, meditation, and maybe little therapy can go a long way toward making appropriate distinctions. Stop watching conduct. Kernel of truth right here. Oddly enough, learn how to dance, swing and blues are good places to start. It kind of forces you to get close and interact with a partner without it being sexualized. And there are a lot of benefits as well. It helps you stay healthy and you can make new friends. This dude gonna be dancing with a rock hard boner lol. It's stylish and swing to wear pleated pants lol. Having female friends and or close female relatives helps. It reminds you that women are humans just like us with feelings and all that. Also, imagining a woman I see sexually take a fat S kills it real quick for me. But if you sexually aroused by women taking fat SS, don't do that.